coming to you from the inner sanctum of the big blue house in the middle of nowhere. This is me, myself, and Flint. This is your host, Sean, aka Flint. So, this is the first inaugural episode of the show. Um, what I'm wanting to do is start each episode with a scripture. So, one of my favorites, and I think it's a good one to start out with, is Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. So that was Psalms 121, verses 1 and 2. So, a little bit about myself, since this is the first episode. So I've been a volunteer firefighter for quite a number of years, and I ain't gonna lie, I've seen some stuff that ain't necessarily the most pleasant. Right now I am between jobs. I actually go into orientation to start my new job tomorrow, which I say new job. I've worked there before, so I'm starting a new job, which is my old job that I used to have. So I go in for orientation tomorrow, and then we'll be working 410s, basically Monday through Thursday. So a lot of stuff led up to me going back to work here and everything, which I'm not going to get into right now, but I might at a later date. Uh, so this episode, I really wanted to start off with something that I struggle with a lot, and it's really hard for me to shake and get rid of. But it's uh, basically depression, and that's why I wanted to start with that verse, because a lot of times to help me get through a hard time. Sorry. So a lot of times I struggle with depression, and what helps get me through that depression is that verse and chapter. What better way than to look up to get over what's bringing you down? So I have to constantly remind myself to lift my eyes to the hills. When I look up at the hills, I'm looking on past the hills to the where God is and where heaven is, looking at heaven and earth. Who made heaven and earth? Who better to get you through such a dark time? I I struggled with depression for a long time. It's not something that I've gone to the doctor for. I'm not taking medication for it, but I still struggle with it. I have when I have my highs, I have really high happiness and exhilaration and everything. But when that depression hits and I go low, I go really low. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times where I'm like, you know what, it's better off me not even just being here. There's, I'm not worth the time, the effort, or anything. But I have to remind myself that there's my son, my mom, my wife, all these people that would I would hurt if something happened to me because of the depression, and I have to push myself on. And even with that, I push through it, but I still feel like I'm failing everybody over it. And one thing that helps me get through it is, you know, that verse in Psalms, and um, I know I've got friends and family that would help me out. Uh, so with everything that's going on, so another verse that helps me get through some of the tough times and everything is John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So who am I to, take away the abundant life that God has given me? And the thief, it says, uh, the thief comes in the night. So, of course, if a thief comes in to steal and to kill, he's coming. That thief is coming in your darkest moments to steal and to kill what you have. And God is the light, so he would keep that. He would drive that darkness out. So it's one of them things that it's hard for me to see it sometimes, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around what I need to do and how I need to be. But I I'm trying the best I can to do the best I can for those around me, to bring them joy, to bring them light, and keep from struggling so much. My wife complains that I joke around a lot, which I do, but that joking and everything helps me to not fall into that darkness. So, anyway, yeah, that's kind of some stuff about depression and everything. And there's so much out there that it hurts to even get yourself through the day sometimes. And I know it seems like I'm just rambling around, and part of what my issue is from the time that I was little, I had a hard time with my speech. and I struggle with my words. So there's a lot of times I'll stop, pause, and I if I stop and pause and just kind of close my eyes, I have to think about what I'm going to say next. I Sometimes it just takes me to close my eyes for me to continue my thoughts because my mind gets so distracted that it's hard for me to find my words, and I'll stumble over words and have issues talking about things, and I don't know how to change that. It's something that I've done my whole life, and I know that there's people that it it irritates them because their I guess their minds work a lot faster than mine does, because I've had people try to finish my sentences and stuff like that, which is, I'm not gonna lie, it's annoying, and I don't want that to be something that bothers the way I speak. I don't want that to be something that bothers other people either. But that's part of where I'm coming from, is that I can't get my words out the way I want to. But it seems like in a more high stress situation, I'm able to react on a dime. I can say things that I need to be said quick and get it out. But if I'm just sitting there in the conversation, it's hard for me to get those words out. So I know it's easier for some people than others, and don't have it as bad as other people do, but it still brings me down. That's part of what causes my depression, is that I'm not as eloquent, as smooth of a speaker as some people are. And so, anyway, yeah. I don't know that I've really got a whole lot to say on this episode. I just really wanted to get my first episode done and get it started and see how everything goes. Uh, I am going to set up a Facebook page. It'll be called Me, Myself, and Flint, and I will get that set up. And really, this podcast or this show is going to be kind of focused towards men and mental health and things that we all might struggle with. I don't know that it's going to do well, but it's worth a shot. And I'm not going to say it's going to be an hour long show. I ain't going to say it's going to be even a 20-minute show. I'm sitting at 13 minutes right now, so it might not be that long of a show. But I do plan on getting a Facebook page set up, possibly an email address set up for it. That way I can get, some support out there, and hopefully see how this group grows and changes and help change the lives of others. Let me get this. I do have Bibles, by the way, but I like being able to use my handy dandy tablet. It makes it easier to get to things I need to get to. So I'm going to try to start and end each episode with a Bible verse. So I started out with Psalms 121, and I want to end with John 16:33. And each one I'm going to try to have it to where it's dealing with something that with the topic we're talking about. So with this, I want to end the episode with John 16:33. I have said these things to you, that in me you have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. With that said, I'm going to end it there, and I hope that you guys have a good evening, good day, good week, and I will talk to y'all next time I do an episode. I'm going to try to do this either Sunday night or Monday night. So, anyway, have a good day. See y'all.